My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for High Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we're going to be checking out the ANDRA Australian Nationals, and at the spiritual home of the Nationals too, it's Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne. After that, we're going sideways with the high-tech drift all-stars at Sydney Motorsport Park underway for round 4. This is Speedweek. Hello and welcome to the 2017 ANDRA Drag Racing Series. We're here for the 51st Australian Nationals at Calder Park Raceway this weekend. A huge weekend. Of course, joining me in the box is Aaron Hambridge. And Aaron, welcome to, of course, the birth of the Australian Nationals.
Yeah, thanks, Chase. Great to be here. Melbourne, one of my most favourite racetracks in the country. It has an atmosphere like no other. You know, you've got the Thunderdome over the back here. You walk in this place and it's awesome.
We're also being joined by Becky Lamb, and she is catching up with one of the biggest names in drag racing from the US of A, Dom Lagana.
Dom Lagana, a very popular driver from the USA and here for only 2 weeks this time. Dom, tell us a bit about working with the Rapasadas.
Well, first met the boys and their dad in 2010 at an NHRA race, and we just kind of hit it off from there. We got the same drive for drag racing. We love it, and coming over here is fun.
Tell us a little of the difference between the USA racing and the Australian racing.
I guess the USA, the weekend's dragged on a little more. You know, the full-time guys are fighting for points, similar to here where these guys are also fighting for points. But other than that, this is more of a little laid-back atmosphere. I do a lot of match racing at home where a track books us in, and it's more, you know, keep the people coming in and put on a great show, make sure the car goes down the track. So little difference in that. You know, other than that, it's just all the fans come out here, love racing, just like in the States.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic to have Dom Lagana here this weekend, along with the USA crew chief Lee Baird for the Rapisada Autosport International team. Let's take a look at the qualifying results from yesterday. Number 1 qualifier was Dom Lagana with a 4:07. 2, Damien Harris with a 4:15. Third quickest was Darren Morgan with a 4:18. And Wayne Newby rounds out the top 4 with a 4:42. So we move into round 1 of eliminations. And Aaron, I bet you would much prefer to be sitting down there in the cockpit than up here in the commentary box.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing like being in one of these cars. But hey, I'm happy to be here and help out and commentate this weekend. But you know, Darren and Damien, they'll put on a good show here, no doubt. The track's not doing too bad. There's a few bumps in the track that are upsetting a couple of the cars. You know, it's reflecting in the times. We have run a lot faster, but considering Calder Park doesn't see a lot of traffic in the way of race cars, they're doing a pretty good job.
Got to say, great to see such a great crowd, fantastic crowd in the house this weekend. Not a cloud in the sky, and we are good to go racing. Into the right-hand lane, we have got Darren Morgan for AEG Power Tools out of the DMR stable, based out of Mildura in Victoria. And in beside him, Damien Harris, the West Aussie, for Rapisada Autosport International. Of course, Aaron, 3 cars being contested by the RAI guys this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what it's like to run 2 cars, but to turn up and run 3, that's an effort that's going to be unmatched by anyone in this country, I think, ever. You know, just the effort and the time and the money and the preparation it takes to get these cars here, let alone 3, it's enormous. You know, you got to put your hands together for Sano, and I've seen him do 4 cars as well, which I don't know how that man has lived to the age that he is.
And we are away. The better reaction favouring Morgan.
Yeah, both cars dropping cylinders there. That's never good for the engines. They'll probably do a little bit of damage after that, but it slows the cars down, and to be honest, on this racetrack, it's probably helping them out.
Well, how close was that? The candles were lit, albeit dropping a few cylinders. A 419 to a 418, Aaron. That's a great drag race.
Yeah, that's nice and close. If you look there on the left-hand side, Darren Morgan's header pipes, it's cylinder 5. You'll see part of the way down the racetrack, it just goes white. The flames go out. So what it is the raw fuel goes into the engine, and it actually puts the spark out. The spark can't ignite the fuel anymore, so it just turns into a hydraulic pump, and it just pumps raw fuel out. It actually does make the cars a little bit hard to steer because the downforce from the header pipe gets taken away on one side of the engine. It'll try and push the car to the other side of the racetrack, but both guys doing a good job keeping them in their lanes.
Well, 2 of our Rapasada Autosport International cars side by side right here. Dom Lagana. And as I said, Lagana is out of Scarsdale in New York. Just 32 years of age, but he's grown up around the sport of drag racing, has been racing Top Fuel Dragsters since around 2007, I think. Certainly a great name and a very much a family-orientated operation, just like Sandoz.
Both cars putting cylinders out there again. Dom's car just dropped 1 or 2 down the end, but Wayne's car early on had a whole bunch of pipes out. I'm not really sure what was wrong there.
Well, Lagana goes through to record low ET of the event so far, 408, 282 miles per hour. Great slow-mo action as we capture all the action here from the 51st Australian Nationals. Pro Stocker joining Top Fuel this weekend, and Becky Lamb caught up with defending champion Lee Bektash.
Lee Bektash, we are here at your home track at Calder Park Raceway. Talk us through the track and why you love it so much.
Look, it's a great home track for us. I mean, we're locals. We're only less than 10 minutes up the road, and been coming here for many years, 25 years to be honest. The track's been in great condition. Yesterday was better than we expected, and it's a credit to Peter Pisolides, the promoter of Calder Park Raceway, and the ANDRA series. So no, we're excited about running here, and hopefully this is going to be my last season, but it'd be nice to come out here again.
Well, it certainly would be sad to see Lee Bektash leaving Pro Stock after 10 long years. Let's take a look at the qualifying from yesterday. Lee Bektash, number 1 qualifier with a 598. Chris Soldatis, second with a 599. Joe Polito was third quickest with a 601. And Bill Perdicaris was fourth with a 606. Moving now into round 1 of eliminations here at the Australian Nationals. And we've got a great pairing about to come our way. Joe Polito taking on Chris Soldatis. So Polito out of New South Wales, Soldatis out of Victoria. We've got the Ford Escort up against the Pontiac GTO. And of course Polito, well over 45 years in the sport, Aaron.
Yeah, Joe hasn't been doing a whole lot of racing in the last few years, but it's good to see him back. And just look at his qualifying numbers there. He's competitive too. You know, he's come back strong, and he'll take it to Soldatis here, and we'll see how he goes.
Of course, Soldatis qualifying number 2 with that 5.99. And Pro Stock, of course, all naturally aspirated. We are looking at carburation at, I think, 500 cubic inches?
500 in America, but the cars here are 400 cubic inches. These things are probably drag racing's version of V8 supercars. So they're naturally aspirated, small block-based engine, but yeah, the horsepower and the RPM that these engines turn is phenomenal. You know, they'd be the highest horsepower per cubic inch engines on the planet, rated up there with Pro Stock in America and some of the other really high-end motorsports like Formula 1.
Advantage off the start line goes to Polito. Got out with a huge hole shot. Oh, and he is loose. He's tagged the back of Soldatis. Wow, we spoke about the fact that he's 45-year veteran in this sport. And it has gone pear-shaped right here at the 51st Australian Nationals. Never good to see, Aaron, when we see a competitor, especially upside down.
No, that makes the hair stand up the arms. That's a horrible thing to see. And listen, Joe did a really good job keeping that car as straight as he did for as long as he did. It got out of the groove there, and you see it bounce around on a few of those bumps, and he almost had the thing pulled straight with the parachute, but just not in time. And pro stock cars are very finicky. They use the minimum amount of downforce to get them down a racetrack, because the more downforce they got, the slower the cars go. So they're set up on the edge all the time. And you watch the car here, it gets out there, it's doing okay. It just heads to the left there, and he pulls it back to the right, and then, yeah, those couple of little bumps there upset the car, and left, right, and straight into the wall.
Well, our Garmin Verb replay shows us just how much of a tank slapper that was for Joe Polito. And look, we can see that the car being rolled back over. That is a huge shame, as once a prized race car is now nothing more than scrap metal.
Yeah, I'd say there's a fair bit of damage to that car. I don't know if that'd be repairable. It ran on its roof for a long time, but yeah, that's heartbreaking for Joe.
Well, Joe will get checked out by all of our medical services on standby, and hopefully, our fingers are crossed that everything is okay with him. Second round of Pro Stock about to come our way now. It is Lee Bektash. This man qualified number one with a 5.98. Of course, we are running over 1,000 foot here at Calder Park this weekend. In beside him, Bill Perdicaris out of New South Wales with the second of the Ford Escorts in the field, qualified with a 6.06 to fill that number 4 spot.
Yeah, well, Bill hasn't ran here for over a year. The last time he raced here, he actually had a crash very similar to Joe's, so it's good to see him back racing. No slouch, you know. He hasn't done a whole lot for the last year, and he's had a reasonably short career in Pro Stock compared to Lee. But hey, you know, over the quarter mile, he's running the sixes, but he's up against the fastest car in Australia, and it's a long way ahead.
Well, Lee Bektash, fastest car in Australia, and also the defending Pro Stock champ for the 2015-2016 season. He's certainly got his hands full this weekend if Bill Perdicaris wants to get a win. Look at Bektash, 0.76, nails it on the line and will drive it, shoots out, and we see he goes through 6.006, 281 kilometres per hour.
Well, looks like he shut the car a little bit early there, so that's a really good number from Lee.
Manually shifted, pulling through the gears there, reaches up, pulls on the chutes.
Yeah, Lee really showing his skill as a driver there. You know, that 0.76 light, that was killer. You know, for a Group 1 racer, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
Joe Polito, it's been a massive day for you down here at Calder Park. Talk us through the accident this morning.
Yeah, well, everything seemed right when we left the start line. I thought quite a long way in front of Chris, and actually I didn't see him at all until right at the very end. Car sort of started drifting a little bit, and it was out of my control. I just made a big left-hand turn. Next thing you know, I'm in the wall, and then it's on the slid. Your mind sort of makes adjustments when you're in that situation, and it looked like everything started to slow down. And when it seemed like it's reasonably slow, I started undoing my seatbelts. The car was still moving, and I just trying to get the hell out of there, because all I was worried about is the thing catching on fire, because that's being upside down, you're going to get fuel spillage out of the carburetors, and the pump's still going until I turn them off. So all I want to do is get out of there.
And physically to us, you look fine, but what's actually going on at the moment? Is there anything wrong?
Well, the only thing that's wrong is that I'm disappointed that I haven't got a car anymore, and I love the sport, and the kids, my grandkids, all my kids race. It's a family thing.
What's the damage report on the car so far?
Oh, I had a quick look at it. She's in a mess. That's going to cost too much to fix, I reckon, but I don't know. When we take it home, we'll have a look and see what happens. That's if my wife will let me. I don't think she'll let me.
There's been lots of action and drama already in the eliminations, and there's more to come on the other side of this break with Top Doorslammer and Top Alcohol. Welcome back to the Australian Nationals. We are headed very shortly to Top Doorslammer. Of course, 6 cars competing here this weekend in Top Doorslammer. It is going to be an absolute cracker. Let's have a look now at our points for Top Doorslammer after the round in Alice Springs. And we see that John Zapier is leading on 237 points over Mark Valeri, and Grant O'Rourke is back in third. Becky Lamb is down in the pits, and she caught up with Victor and Ben Bray.
Victor and Ben Bray, father and son, absolute legends of the sport. Victor, talk me through the weather here in Melbourne today and the track conditions especially.
Well, the weather is absolutely perfect, has been for qualifying, and it's again today, absolutely perfect racing conditions. The track, the Calder Racing surface is an older surface, but they've done a pretty good job of repairing it. A couple of small bumps which we can accommodate, but no, yesterday was really good, and a lot of the cars went real fast down there. A lot of people, have plenty to say about the weather in Melbourne, but boy, oh boy, they've really turned it on for the Australian Nationals in 2017.
And Benny, touching on those Australian Nationals, talk me through the 2017 season so far and what to expect for you boys.
Yeah, no, well, like the Gulf Western 79 Corvette at the moment in the 27 season, it's been pretty good. I've been to one final, one semi-final, qualifying in the top 4 everywhere I've been. So the 27 season so far has been pretty amazing for me. Dad's car's performing probably up there with the top 5 cars as well. So to bring 2 cars into this elite Top Doorslammer field, it's a pretty good achievement to always try and keep them on the field.
Well, Top Doorslammer eliminations are coming up in just a moment. But before we get there, let's have a look at the High-Tech Oils qualifying from yesterday. John Zapier, fastest man in qualifying with a 4.91, followed by Ben Bray with a 5.02. Mark Valeri there, third with a 5.07. Then Canuli, Fennick and Victor Bray round out the top 6. So here we go, Top Doorslammer, first elimination about to come our way. What a matchup. We're about to see Paul Canuli taking on Mark Valeri. So Canuli, of course, running this Plymouth Duster, the orange car, to the right of screen. And Mark Valeri, well, running now for Morris Fabietti in the AC Delco, Holder Monaro. And Aaron, Top Doorslammer, of course, one of the toughest categories you could want to be involved in.
Yeah, definitely. These things are as close as pro stock cars these days. Major difference between these 2 cars here is the supercharger you got on board. Paul Canuli's about the only guy I know in all of Doorslammer at the moment, probably competitive and really having to go with a root supercharger. There are rules that advantage a car with a roots blower, so they're a little bit different design to a screw blower. They spin slower, they don't quite make as much boost, and they make a lot more heat than what a screw blower does. But in turn for the penalties there, they allow the cars to be a lot lighter. At the moment, Paul's really mixing up all the screw blowing cars, and that combination is really proving itself out here.
Well, Paul Canuli, of course, been running Top Doorslammer for quite a number of years now. And in beside him, Mark Valeri driving that AC Delco Holder Monaro. And Valeri has certainly strapped one on Canuli. Canuli, though, faster across the 1,000-foot, 5.07 to a 5.24. And the PC Cranes team look very happy indeed.
Yeah, the cars were evenly matched the half track. They were pretty close, but Mark made a big move to the centre line there and had to shut the car off and just allowed Paul to drive right on through.
Paul Canuli, no stranger to the winner's circle. He certainly won his fair share of events. And there, the boss, Sean Mifsud, looking very happy. All right, the next pair about to come our way. It is going to be Sam Fennick from New South Wales taking on Queenslander Ben Bray in this brand new Gulf Western Oil Corvette. The Bray team, of course, they've had great partnerships over the years, but Gulf Western stepping up, and I believe a 5-car deal between the Sport Compact car, Victor's Top Doorslammer, Ben's Top Doorslammer, and their burnout cars respectively.
Yeah, it'll be a great deal for that family. Like, they've always had big corporate funding, and it's really put them at the position they are in the sport. They are, arguably the most household recognised name in drag racing. Like, everybody knows Victor Bray, and you know, they were synonymous with Castrol for a long time, and they've switched over here to their new sponsor. And yeah, good luck to them. It's going to be a really good thing for them, and yeah, it'll help put them back in the winner's circle.
Sam Fennick has come from the pro street scene now into the top Doorslammer world. Bray runs it out the back door there, 5:09, 356 kilometres an hour. Fennick just seemed to get off it a little.
Yeah, Sam left really hard. The car just headed towards the centre line, and you know what? He did the smart thing. He couldn't pull the car straight. He shut it off and then just cruised on down. He'll come back another day, and you know, I'm sure they'll go rounds. But he did the right thing. He shut it off, and you know, he tried to pedal to get back on. But once you're out of that groove, there's no grip. It's very hard to get the car to hook back up.
Next pairing of bats coming our way, John Zapier and Victor Bray. Wow, how many times have we seen these guys line up side by side?
Yeah, this is the age-old matchup of Doorslammer, and you know, starting out in Wild Bunch, but these two have gone at it more times than I can remember.
4.99 seconds, the number one qualifying spot there for John Zapier, of course, now with that great Noonan race engines on board. 9 times Australian top Doorslammer champion. Victor's, he's up there.
Yeah, Victor's won plenty, but John's at the top of the pile in Doorslammer, that's for sure. But you know, he's in the favourable lane here, the left lane. Everyone seems to be getting down that right lane. A lot of cars are struggling.
Bray with the start line advantage, but Zapier just streaks away. 4.89 seconds, beats Victor Bray's 5.4.
Yeah, really odd thing there. If you look at Victor's car, on one side of the car you can see there's a cylinder or two that aren't firing. Very similar to what we saw in the fuel cars earlier today. You know, no such problem for John. He's running down. So yeah, look at the left-hand side of Victor. You see that white puff of smoke. Yeah, it's pushing out raw fuel. He's either got an ignition problem or a valve train problem, something like that. But yeah, Victor's not going to be happy with that.
Well, I'm sure you're right. Victor won't be happy with that, but John Zapier will be happy as we have a look at our snap-on top Doorslammer race ladder. In the first final, John Zapier will get a solo into the final, and Ben Bray will take on Paul Canuli.
Paul Canuli, a pretty good first round from you, beating Mark Valeri. Well done, and into the second round.
Yeah, the crew done a good job. Track's a bit tricky out there. It's really hot, and we didn't know really which way to go. But fortunately, we got through, and Mark didn't. But he done an awesome drive job. He was right beside me at the finish line. I think he was pretty crossed up. So he done a great drive, but we got through.
Top Alcohol is coming up very, very shortly. In fact, it is the second round of the ANDRA Top Alcohol Championship. 6 cars here to contest this weekend at the Australian Nationals, and our defending champion is here, and Becky Lamb caught up with him down in the pits.
John Canuli, it's been since Winter Nats in the middle of last year since we've had a race with you, but talk us through 2017. Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, it is. This is our first event since the Winter Nationals, since we destroyed our body. And we decided to come out this weekend and put on a show for the crowd, and the car's been performing.
Well, John Canuli will certainly be looking to back it up and go 2 in a row. But before we go to round 1, let's check out the Hi-Tech Oils qualifying order. John Canuli leading the charge in the number 1 spot with a 4.82. Brian Lockman second quickest with a 5.32. Then Wayne Talbot, Jason Maggs, Craig Russo, and Cameron Ambezi round out the top 6. First round of eliminations in Top Alcohol coming our way. Now, Aaron, I know that these cars are very close to your heart as a former Top Alcohol racer.
Yeah, no, this is got to be my second favourite class, only second to Top Fuel now that I'm driving one. But no, the class has changed a lot in the last few years. Like, out of the 6 cars that are here, I only ever raced against one guy in this category, it's John Canuli. So there's some new cars, and most of these cars, bar one, I don't think have actually ever entered Top Alcohol before. I've seen Russo's car in Outlaws before, and Brian Lockman's is a brand new car. We machined a few engine blocks for him recently, but it should be an interesting matchup, these 2 cars, to see who's going to get down there quickest, and they're both new combinations, so anything's possible.
Both drivers coming out of Victoria, Lockman and Russo. So we've got the Bantam Altered up against the Dodge Funny car right here with Craig Russo. Now, you, of course, you were dragster based.
Yep.
Did you ever want to sort of get into one of the shorter wheelbase cars?
Listen, I always wanted to have a go with an alcohol altered. The rules, in theory, actually favour an altered. They have the best weight break, so they're allowed to be lighter than all the other cars. They've got no overdrive limits, just like the funny cars, but with that weight break, they should, in theory, be a hell of a lot faster, but altereds are notorious for not handling all that well, so I guess you've got to have the guts to do so.
Lockman absolutely whole shots Russo and will drive it to the stripe for the win. 5:55 beats Russo's 5:79.
Yeah, look at Lockman's car there. It actually looks like he was at part throttle for the majority of that run. You can see the butterflies are closed well before half track. Well, obviously not completely, but he's obviously struggling for traction and he's using the throttle to control it and get the car down a racetrack, but it's paid off and it's won him this round.
Well, the Garmin Verb replay shows us all of the action up close and personal as we move on to our second round. We're about to see Jason Maggs taking on Wayne Talbot. Talbot with this very cool early sort of nostalgic style funny car.
Yeah, both these cars are actually very unconventional for top alcohol. The dragster over there, the car itself's nothing out of the ordinary, but it's got a small block in it. Now, I haven't seen anybody run competitively with a small block and top alcohol for probably 15 plus years, but that engine's proven. He ran that in his comp car and that thing was damn fast. I know he was campaigning to try and get him to allow small blocks in the top Doorslammer for a long time, but they never allowed it, so I guess he's jumped ship and he wants to go Group 1 racing and he's sticking with the engine combination that he knows. They've developed it for a long time and they've made their own cylinder heads now and I think made their own rear end components, and it's going to prove to be a good combination. It's just a matter of time when.
Well, we know that Wayne Talbot normally runs in supercharged Outlaws, but he is stepping up for the first time this weekend in top alcohol. Well, the reaction favoured Maggs, and he has certainly capitalised that, running on through 5:43 for the win, beating the 5:52 of Wayne Talbot. Good experience, though, for Talbot, getting into the Group 1 category of top alcohol and getting some runs on the board.
Yeah, Wayne's car left really slow there. It definitely made it up in the second half of the racetrack, but it just left the line really soft. It might just be a matter of adjusting the tune up and changing a few things. And Mag's car, if anything, probably the complete opposite, leaving rather aggressive, shaking the tyres. More often than not, it's because the tyres are spinning too fast and they try and run over themselves. But he'll go back, look at the computer, make some changes and get that car sorted for the next round.
Now, huge story for this man. He is the defending champion. He won the Australian Nationals last year, but of course had an incident where his car was damaged last year in a racing incident. These guys have thrown that funny car together. The crew and sponsors have worked together to make sure that car is here within 7 days. A 7-day turnaround to build the Nova LED funny car of John Canooly and his #1 qualifier.
Yeah, John's got plenty of experience in funny car racing. He's the fastest guy on the planet as far as I'm aware at the moment. I don't think anyone's gone past him yet. So they've got plenty of parts and John's got a whole bunch of good guys around him. So listen, it sounds like an incredible defeat, but for John and these guys, it probably wasn't that big of a deal. They've put the car together and it's going straight down the racetrack, so they're doing pretty well.
Canooly, of course, Crossroads Racing. He's been campaigning this category for, well, geez, it'd have to be 5 years now, you'd imagine. And showing his experience there once again. Gets off the start line, although the funny car gets a little loose mid-track. He'll still run on through for the winner, 5:09, not as quick as the 4-second pass that we saw in qualifying.
No, definitely not. Cameron's car here putting cylinders on the left-hand side, similar to Victor's problem, but something else I've noticed with that car, if you look at the top of the injector hat, under vacuum, it's actually starting to suck the top of that injector hat in. That's something Cameron's going to need to address real soon, or that's going to cause him a whole bunch of trouble. It'll probably crack and fracture and end up sucking it through the supercharger.
Let's have a look at our snap-on race ladder for our next round of top alcohol. Of course, Canooly will get the bye into the final, and Lockman and Maggs will take part in the second semi-final to see who will meet John Canooly in the final. So, the semi-finals about to come our way for top Doorslammer. Here at the Australian Nationals, it looks as though we are going to see Paul Canooly taking on Ben Bray. On board with Bray at the moment. Aaron, very busy in the cockpit of a top Doorslammer.
Yeah, plenty of things to do. To be honest, there's probably more to do in those things than what I have to do in a top fuel car. They've got gears to change, they've got trans brake buttons if you're an auto car, which both these two are, they've got clutch pedals if you're a clutch car, they've got a stage RPM, they've got a whole bunch of things to do. So, honestly, out of all the cars in Group 1 drag racing in Australia, they're probably the least or the last car I'd actually want to drive.
Wow. So Paul Canuli, of course, is the brother to our top alcohols, John Canuli. Thought we should just clarify that. And Ben Bray, of course, the son to legend that is Victor Bray. Well, as we mentioned, the all-new livery for Golf Western and Team Bray this weekend. Good to see Benny's wife, Samantha, very big part of the team as well. And Canuli, well, he's got Bluey there to the right, Sean Mifsud, the car owner. And of course, it is one of the very few, if only, Plymouth Duster that's actually in the country in competition at the moment.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's the only one. There was another one based in Sydney, but I think it's had a couple of glances at the wall. It's gone back to the US for repairs again, I think. But yeah, at the moment, it's the only one that I know of.
Interesting hearing the notes of the engine inside the different cars. Ben Brace really has that whine of the blower just whining over. It was a lot more sort of sedate sound on board for Paul Canuli. Very similar on the reaction department. It's a drag race. Ben Bray will cross the line, the centre line, which will give the automatic win to Paul Canuli, although Canuli certainly had the nose out in front.
Yeah, that right-hand lane's been biting races all day long, and that's just got Ben there as well. They're all struggling to keep the cars straight. They're obviously struggling with traction, a few bumps and stuff. It's getting these cars unsettled, and they just can't bring them back. So, listen, today the best lane to be in is going to be the left, but unfortunately that right lane, and almost at the same spot every time, has beaten 3 or 4 cars.
Well, we've already seen, unfortunately, one of our Pro Stock cars bitten the hardest with Joe Polito earlier with an accident, and I tell you what, the team's very, very happy indeed. Now this man, 9 times top Doorslammer champion, about to run a solo into the final. And John Zappia, I mean, for striker crushing and Fuchs, he's been around, obviously, a long, long time from way back in the Wild Bunch days. But talk about a dominant figure.
I just noticed something really interesting there. If you look on the right-hand side there, John's actually removed the data logger out of his car. I'm going to take a guess at the reason why. John runs the same computer system in his car as what we do in our top fuel car, and it's a Motec computer. It's a data logger, but it also has abilities to control other things in the car. Now, in ANDRA Drag Racing, it's prohibited to use those abilities to control anything such as horsepower based off drive shaft speed, so basically traction control. This car has been accused of using traction control as long as I can remember. Unfortunately for John, having that Motec data logger in the car has been not a downfall for him, but a reason for people to look twice at that car. And listen, the fact of it is, he's good. He's very, very good. And I don't think what happens, people are going to accuse him of doing all sorts of things because of that computer in the car, but he's just proven having it in there or not doesn't make one scrap of difference.
Wow, he's gone to great lengths to prove his innocence, and he's done just that, a 491. So without his Motec data logger, he's been able to pedal his Fuchs Monaro down to times comparable to where he qualified. Well, let's take a look at our snap-on race ladder as we see the semi-finals are run and done. So John Zappia from the west will take on the New South Welshman, Paul Canuli. Speaking of Canulis, here comes his brother John Canuli in the semi-finals of Top Alcohol. Car sounded like it got right up on the tyres there, Aaron. Got a little loose?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it jumped up a little bit harder than he expected and he just got off it, but that's not really going to matter a whole lot. John's on a solo here, so he's going to get through to the final no matter what. It'll be interesting to see whether he tries it out to see what the track will take, or whether he'll just play it safe, slide the car on down there, and make sure he's got a good combination. He's got a fair bit of leverage up his sleeve, and he's got a fair bit on the rest of the field here today.
Well, as you said, I mean, he's got the fastest, he's got the quickest alcohol funny car on the planet.
It's not a record to be messed with. Like, he's up amongst some of the longest running races in top alcohol history. You know, Gary Phillips, that guy's been doing it forever. You know, John's been running alcohol for quite a while now, but compared to the number of runs that some of these guys here and in America have made, for John to be number one, man, that's a hell of an effort.
Well, we know the Crossroads race team, they are a real family affair. Of course, we just saw his wife Kirsten back him up a moment ago. And defending champion in top alcohol, not to mention that he was the winner of the 50th Australian Nationals as well, this time last year.
John's obviously tried to have a real go at the racetrack there, but it's not going to stick. It got him a little bit out of shape. John's a good driver. He got it back under control and got in the centre of the lane and just rolled it on through.
Well, no problems at all. I mean, we saw when he came through with the burnout, almost as if though he really didn't scuff the tyres up too much, but that hooked up very nicely. And then what's it got, about 100 foot out? Just seemed to go away from him. The next pairing now of our top alcohol round here in the semis is going to be Brian Lockman taking on this man, Jason Maggs.
Yeah, that's that small block we spoke about earlier. It's going to be an interesting combination to see if they can get it sorted and keep up with the big boys. Something else that's a little odd in that car is the transmission. Everybody else is running Lenkos and B&Js, pretty much a 3-speed. As far as I know, that car actually has a 5-speed transmission in a dragster with an area probably 2,400 horsepower. So it's a very unconventional combination, but these guys are smart. Jason's dad, he's not a dummy. He'll get on top of this and get it sorted. And I know they're determined, that's for sure. They won't give away that small block. I think they'd rather stop racing before they went and bought an engine like in the Altered here, Hemi with the plug leads in the middle. They're small block diehards, and they'll give it a good push.
Well, Jason Maggs, of course, started in the sport way back in the junior dragster days and has progressed through. Been racing for 22 years. Man, that makes us feel old, no doubt. And 2 years he's been campaigning in top alcohol. Whereas, Brian Lockman, well, he's a relative newcomer to the sport of top alcohol in particular. Bit of a non-event.
I'm not really sure what happened there. Lockman got out, but his car turned the tyres and got out of shape, so he's jumped straight off the throttle. And Maggs' car, not really sure what's happened there. It was still running. Maybe possible broken throttle cable or something silly like that. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Maggs, but Lockman rolls on through. An easy way to get to the final.
Well, Jason Maggs will be pushed away from the start line. Of course, no racer wants to be headed that way. As we have a look at our Garmin Verb replay. Aaron, can you shed a bit of light on maybe what's happened there?
Honestly, I'm not sure what happened to either car there. Lockman's car got out. I thought at first I might have smoked the tyres, but it looks like some fluid started coming out the back of it. There was a bit of a white haze out the back, but I don't think it was tyre smoke. Maggs' car, no clear indication.
Well, let's have a look at our snap-on race ladder now. We see it will be a John Canuli and Brian Lockman final right here at the 51st Australian Nationals. Don't go anywhere. We've got more Australian Nationals action coming up right after this break. As we get set, the scene is being set for us for Top Fuel. Of course, we have got our B final and our A final. And in the B final, Aaron, we're going to see Wayne Newby taking on Damien Harris, two of the Rapisada Autosport International teammates going head-to-head.
Yeah, well, you got to say Sano came to this race with pretty good odds of getting his cars to the final. He's got 3 of the 4 cars in the class, but this will be a good matchup. Wayne's car seemed a little bit off earlier today, but Damien seems spot on, so we'll see who can get up.
And it's a real, not only a race, between the two teammates, but also for Seto Rapisada's sons, because we've got Seto Jr., crew chief for Damien Harris, and Santino is crew chief for Wayne Newby.
Yeah, well, I got 3 boys in my household, and I don't know if I'd be keen to give them 3 Top Fuel cars to try and beat each other up with on the racetrack, but these 2 guys do it well, and then they go back to America and they race together and they put both their heads together and they do really well there. So it's awesome to see them out on the racetrack with these cars, and they're young too. The job they're doing, and both those guys I think are only still 21. So I'm 34 and I'm only just trying to get my head around it, and they're doing a killer job for a couple of guys that are 13 years younger than me.
Great to see Damien Harris's dragster draped in the Louis Rapisada track burner tribute livery this weekend as well. Of course, he was the 2015 Top Fuel champ. And Wayne Newby, I mean, this guy, he's been a top alcohol racer for many, many years. But now he's been sitting in the Top Fuel seat for about 3 years. And boy, hasn't he adapted very well.
Nah, Wayne's done a great job in the Top Fuel car. Even in the US, he's proved himself amongst some of the best drivers in the NHRA.
Candles were lit until Damien Harris threw a belt right there. 4:23 for Harris and a 4:22 for Wayne Newby.
Yeah, both cars dropping cylinders there, and that really causes havoc with the top fuel engine. As soon as they put cylinders out, the engines go lean. Usually they'll backfire, lift the blower, push the burst panels out. You see Damien's car there, starts to catch on fire, throws a belt. Wayne just managed to keep his engine together a bit longer than what Damien did, and it allowed him to drive on by.
What margin of victory between these two races? 29 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, it was made all up on the start line there. Wayne cut a lot on Damien, and that's what got him to the end first.
Moving now to the A final, and Aaron, we have got Dom Lagana from the USA taking on Darren Morgan, a good old Aussie versus USA top fuel final.
Yeah, it's always a battle between us and the Yanks, that's for sure. Dom's a really cool guy. I've spent a fair bit of time with him. I crew chiefed on his car when Sano ran 4 cars in Sydney a few years ago. I get along with him really good, and he's a really good steerer. He does really well behind the wheel, and it'd be great to see him in a big show car in America and get a full-time drive. And I know he's working his butt off over there. They run their family car quite a bit, and he's out here for Sano for the last couple of weeks, and we'll see how he goes here. He's got one of the best crew chiefs in the game too. Lee's made more runs than anybody else here in Australia has. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's just a generally really smart guy.
So do they look at a tune-up based on what our atmospheric conditions are here? That's something Sando would have in his toolbox, or would he bring his own to the party?
No, I know what Lee's like. When he gets out here, he brings all his own information, and he gets out here and he bosses all the guys around and makes them set them up the way he wants.
We are away with the final. It is, of course, going to be Dom Lagana. The American will take the win here at the 51st Australian Nationals, 4:08. Beats a 4:24. Darren Morgan, though, man, oh man. I mean, he's one of the long-time stalwarts of top fuel, just like Sando.
Yeah, Darren's been doing this as long as most of the other guys out here, probably about 10, 12 years now. He does a great job, and he's got a new car, and they're really starting to get on top of it and show some really killer times.
Yeah, it's really cool to get one of these awesome trophies here. I love the Australian trophy. That was a great race all weekend. All 4 cars made unbelievable laps, and Lee and all the guys worked their butts off, and the car was flawless. I mean, 4.0s all weekend, low ET every run, and I just wanted to have some fun, do a good job, not let down Sano and everybody.
Let's take a look now at the High-Tech Oils leaderboard. After round 1, we see Dom Lagana leads on 118 points, with Darren Morgan in second, Wayne Newby third, and Damien Harris in fourth. Moving into the final of Pro Stock, and it is going to be a single car affair. Of course, Joe Polito was matched up to be sitting in beside this man, Lee Bektash, in the Mopar, the Dodge Avenger, but unfortunately, due to the earlier racing incident, he won't be making it. But Lee Bektash will be claiming yet another victory in this Dodge Avenger.
Yeah, it was a real shame to not see Joe make the final. That would have been really good for Joe and his family to make a final at the Australian Nationals, but unfortunately they got bit by that right lane and the bumps and the lack of grip there. And like we said before, the Pro Stock car running on the ragged edge, Joe did very well to keep it straight as long as he did, but this is probably going to be the last time that anyone's going to see Lee Bektash run down a quarter mile at Calder Park.
Well, that's right, announcing his retirement after 10 years in the sport. Throws it at the tree.
Yeah, and he's run the car all the way through there. 5.95. That's a killer run from Lee. It's going to be a real loss to the sport and definitely to the category of Pro Stock not seeing that car out in the start line anymore next year.
Yeah, it certainly will, Aaron, and at least he's leaving Calder Park Raceway on a high.
Yeah, thanks very much. We've had a good couple of days. Really impressed with the racetrack. Peter Pisolides has done a great job on the preparation. It's a big improvement from last year. It was unfortunate for Joe Polito. He had a mishap there in earlier, and I had to run the final on my own. But look, that's the way it goes with drag racing. We're happy. We take the carrot home.
Let's have a look at our High-Tech Oils leaderboard for Pro Stock after 2 rounds. Lee Bektash leads on 165 over Joe Polito. Chris Soldatis is in 3rd, Bill Perdicaris is in 4th, Bill Costius in 5th, and Jerry Parenti is 6th. Moving into the final now of Top Doorslammer, and it is going to be John Zappia up against Paul Cannuli.
Yeah, John's got his dash back in there again. Got his computer, he can record some information, and that was That was a pretty gutsy move by John to take that out for that last run and really prove to everybody that, you know, it's him and it's the car setup. But tell you what, without that dash, he has no information on the car at all after the run or during the run. So most guys are watching RPMs, oil pressure, fuel flow, a whole bunch of things while they're running the car. John didn't have it completely blind, so there could have been anything wrong with that car and he wouldn't have even known.
Well, let's keep a tab. That's interesting that you mentioned that. He ran 4:91. That was the time that we saw in the semis. So we'll see what he runs now that he's put the Motec back in. But look, hey, at the end of the day, it is a final. We have got the West Aussie in John Zapier taking on Paul Canuli from New South Wales. The PC Crane, Sean Mifsud, would be absolutely stoked with his young driver here going all the way to the final.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job just getting to the final. And, you know, hey, John's got to drive around Paul to get to the finish line and win this race. Paul's car's been running good, so this will be an interesting matchup.
Canuli straps a big hole shot on him off the start line, but in typical John Zapier style, drives it out the back door, 4.90.
Yeah, congratulations to John there, but, you know, hands together for Paul too. He's one of the only Doorslammers that actually got down that right lane, and he ran down as fast as he did in the left too, and he kept it pretty stark and nice and smooth, so I think he did a good job just getting down that lane. You know, unfortunately, he didn't get the win.
Our Garmin Verb replay shows us just how busy Paul Canuli was in the office. John Zapier, though, runs straight down the middle of the lane to take the win.
Thanks very much. Yeah, the Fuchs Monaro has been flying all weekend. We had a consistent race car to win it back-to-back the last 2 years, and I think we won it in 1995 as well, when the first time Top Doorslammer was ever run at this event. And I'd just like to thank all my crew and all my sponsors that have made this possible for us to come over here and win another one of these beautiful gold trees.
And John Zapier stretches his lead in the championship as he makes a run towards a 10th championship victory. He leads Mark Balleri, then Ben Bray, Grant O'Rourke, Victor Bray, Sam Fennick and Mark Chapman. Top alcohol final coming our way here at the Australian Nationals, and it is going to be Queenslander John Canuli taking on Victorian Brian Lockman.
Yeah, John with a much better burnout there. He's obviously got that issue sorted from the last round.
Well, Canuli in the funny car, Brian Lockman in that little Bantam altered 510 cubic inches on board for Lockman, and Canuli, I dare say, would be up around that as well.
Yeah, John's car's more than likely the 510 or 521. 521 was a pretty common combination for a long time, but there's a new engine combination that a lot of guys are going with. I think it's 518 cubic inches. I don't know if there's a whole lot of difference, but yeah, most of the engines in all your alcohol funny cars and altereds are all over 500, but most of the drags is all down around about 450 to 470 cubic inches.
So John Canuli, he is now in the seat, the box seat, to try and take home his second Nationals win, and of course to add some very, very imperative points to his point score to go about defending his championship. Can Brian Lockman step up to the plate at a prestigious event like this and take home his first win?
Yeah, well, Brian's got nothing to lose here, so I'm guessing he's going to shoot for the sky. He's going to try and cut a light on him. He's going to try and send that car down the racetrack as fast as he can.
Oh, would you believe he certainly had a real red-hot crack at it. A red light .038 in the cherry. That will be John Canuli, who will take home his second Nationals win.
Yeah, I don't know how John was doing too well seen in that car at the bottom end. He's running over a whole bunch of clean-up dust there from a previous oil down, and that car was full of that orange dust.
What a fairy tale finish. Constructing the car in the week leading up to the event, coming down, contesting the event, top qualify, and then to take home the win. I'd imagine we'll have one very happy John Canuli down in the pits.
I feel good. It's excellent. Yeah, with this crew that I've got behind me, we made it happen. We all decided a week ago to come down and to try to double up this Nationals, and we did, and I'm really proud of my team.
John Canuli kicks off his championship defence in winning style, leading ahead of Brian Lockman, Jason Maggs, Wayne Talbot, Craig Russo and Cameron and Bessie. Well, that is the 51st Australian Nationals run and won right here at Calder Park Raceway. We've had a big weekend of Group 1 action. Aaron, some fantastic moments.
Yeah, it's been a great race. There's been some testing times, some trying conditions with the racetrack, but everyone did a great job, and congratulations to those guys taking home the gold Christmas tree.
The next time we go ANDRA drag racing will be in Western Australia for the Golden States. And then on March 4th and 5th, the Western Nationals at the Perth Motorplex. Then 1 week later, the Summit Racing Equipment Sportsman Series heads east for the penultimate round to Steel City Raceway, Whyalla. My thanks to Aaron Hambridge for all of his expertise and insight, and we hope you enjoyed all the coverage from the 51st Nationals. We'll see you for the next round of ANDRA drag racing in Perth.
Okay, so that wraps up the action here at Calder, but after the break, you don't want to go anywhere because it's the Drift All-Stars, and it's round 4 under lights at Sydney Motorsport Park.